Inside the Mind, Memory Reconstruction and the Illusion of Truth. They told her that her name was Amelia, that she had a family, a home, a whole life before the accident. But when she looked at the photographs they placed in her hands, the faces felt like strangers. Her mind was not a blank slate. It was a scattered puzzle. She could remember the smell of rain on hot asphalt, the sound of a lullaby she couldn't place, the feeling of a cold metal doorknob under her palm. But she couldn't connect them into a story. That's because memory is not a perfect recording of our past. It is a reconstruction. Every time we recall an event, our brain doesn't play back a video. It rebuilds it from countless fragments stored in different regions. A sound here, a smell there, an image in another corner. Like a film editor piecing together a scene from bits of footage, our brain weaves those fragments into what feels like a continuous story. Sometimes it gets it right, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes the pieces simply don't fit. Memory is not a precise recording of events. It is a living tapestry woven from perception, emotion, and imagination. When you close your eyes and try to bring back an image of a summer afternoon from your childhood, what appears before you is not a photograph and not a video, but a reconstruction, a story your brain pieces together from scattered fragments. In the middle of the 20th century, psychologist Frederick Bartlett first demonstrated the power of what he called constructive memory. He asked participants to retell a Native American folktale in their own words. With each new retelling, the story became shorter, simpler, and took on the cultural features of the Western narrators. Bartlett showed that we change our memories to fit our worldview, filling in the gaps with believable details and discarding what does not fit. Modern neuroscience has confirmed and deepened this discovery. When you try to remember an event, the hippocampus, a crucial hub of memory, collaborates with the prefrontal cortex to assemble fragments into a single picture. But these brain regions do not simply retrieve information, they interpret it, predict it, and sometimes invent it. At Stanford University, participants were shown simple scenes, then asked to imagine new details. Functional MRI scans revealed that the same brain regions lit up during imagination as during memory recall. Imagination and memory, it turns out, share the same hardware. Our past is not a stone tablet. It is a script we rewrite every time we bring it to mind. This plastic quality of memory has a philosophical parallel in the work of Henri Bergson, who argued that memory is not a passive archive, but a creative force. Bergson saw in every recollection a spark of pure memory that replays us in the full variety of our lived experience. For him, the past is not stored, it comes alive in images, and we remember not as who we once were, but as who we have become. Real life is full of examples of this. A violinist named Maria, speaking about her first public performance, always described it as filled with excitement and applause, although her diary from that evening recorded trembling hands and tears of fear. With each retelling, the anxiety faded, replaced by a proud narrative. Her brain, seeking coherence, smoothed over the sharp edges. Similarly, an elderly man named Joseph recalled a school friend, adding dramatic details to the story year after year until it became a tragedy. The friend became, in Joseph's memory, a symbol of loss and betrayal, even though in reality their friendship had no such dramatic turns. Our brains rewrite memories to protect our self-esteem and emotional balance. Experiments at the University of California showed that people who were given false memories of being lost in a store later recalled them with more detail and greater confidence than real events. The more convincing the falsehood, the more certain we feel it is true. And in the brain, confidence is often mistaken for truth. The philosopher John Locke claimed that identity rests on memory. As long as consciousness can repeat past thoughts, the person remains the same. But Locke could not have foreseen how mutable repeated consciousness would be. If our memories shift with each recall, then our identity shifts as well. Its outline never fixed. We become the authors of our own biographies, rewriting the past to suit the needs of our present self. This realization is both unsettling and liberating. If memory is a construct, we can learn to use its creativity instead of fearing its distortions. In narrative therapy, patients reframe traumatic events, transforming them from sources of pain into stories of strength and transformation. A veteran suffering from post-traumatic stress might reconstruct memories of combat as experiences of friendship and mutual aid, easing the emotional weight on the brain's sensory centers. Daily practice can become a key to rewriting memory. Choose a minor conflict with a colleague and write down your version of the event. Then retell the same story from the other person's perspective, imagining their thoughts and feelings. Read it aloud. Repeat the exercise weekly. Over time, the memory becomes more balanced and its emotional heat fades. Neuroscience explains that during such review, the frontal brain regions that regulate emotions activate, rewiring the connection to the original experience. But the inventiveness of memory can be dangerous. In court, witness statements are often overturned by DNA evidence. Sometimes confident witnesses, vividly describing a crime, turn out to be entirely mistaken. Experiments by psychologist Elizabeth Loftus showed that leading questions and subtle cues can implant false memories of car accidents or assaults. Our minds craft compelling narratives, but those narratives do not always match reality. The philosopher Soren Kierkegaard said that truth is subjective, and memory is more an inner reality than a chronological record. This subjective truth can heal and wound at the same time. Remembering joyful moments fuels our motivation, while fixating on failures risks drawing us into depression. Once we understand this dual nature of memory, we gain power over our inner narratives. Practical habits can help cultivate useful memories. Keep a 3 good things journal, writing down 3 pleasant moments each day along with the feelings they inspired. After a few weeks, you will notice your brain spotting and storing more of these small joys. This reshapes the structure of neural connections, building a habit of positive perception. Another technique is to pause when intrusive memories return. When troubling images knock at the door, stop, breathe deeply, and picture the memory as a film on a screen. Watch it without emotion, then rewrite the ending so it carries a lesson or hope. Research shows that such rewriting changes synaptic connections, weakening painful associations. Michel de Montaigne reflected on memory's unreliability. In his essays, he wrote, "Nothing fixes itself so strongly in the memory as the desire to forget it." The paradox is clear. The more we try to erase something, the deeper it carves itself in. Montaigne also noted that we more often repeat what is familiar than seek new paths. By accepting the fragility of memory, we can use it to create kinder, more inspiring stories about ourselves. What is truly real and what is not? Perhaps reality lies not in the fine precision of facts, but in the meaning we draw from them. A faded recollection of a summer day may not matter for the exact shade of the grass, but for the feeling of freedom it evokes. Our brain is an artist, and we are the directors of our own lives. Understanding the creative nature of memory gives us freedom. The freedom to learn from the past, to rewrite our inner world, and to move forward with narratives that liberate rather than confine us. Memory that never was still serves a vital function. It helps us adapt, empathize, and imagine. To remember is to create. And once we recognize our part in that process, we gain a very real power, the power to fill our past with meaning and to step into the future with courage. And now, let us go deeper into the phenomenon of false memories, with stories of patients that reveal their reality and the experimental data that uncover their mechanics. False memories arise not only in lab experiments on students, but in the lives of real people whose fate may depend on the accuracy of their recollections. At the University of California, Professor Elizabeth Loftus showed that by supplying what she called modifying information, it is possible to implant in someone's mind a memory of an event that never happened. In her classic garage experiment, participants saw a video of a car accident, then were asked a leading question. One group was asked, "How fast were the cars going when they collided?" Another, "How fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other?" The word smashed implied a harder impact, and those given that wording not only reported higher speeds, but often remembered seeing broken glass that never appeared in the video. Language had altered the very content of memory. In the 1990s, psychologist Elizabeth Loftus conducted a groundbreaking experiment that revealed just how fragile and malleable memory can be. Participants were told 4 stories about their childhood, 3 of which were real, provided by their families, and 1 completely fabricated, that they had once been lost in a shopping mall as a child. Astonishingly, about a quarter of the participants came to remember the invented event in vivid detail, describing the colour of the floor tiles, the smell of popcorn, even the voice of the person who found them. These memories felt utterly real to them, yet they were entirely false. This became known as the false montage effect. This phenomenon shows that our brain is not a perfect archivist, but more like a storyteller, constantly editing, reinterpreting, and sometimes even creating scenes that never happened. In daily life, these slight distortions often go unnoticed, but they shape our sense of self, our relationships, and even the choices we make. In a way, each of us lives inside a film directed by our own mind. A film where fact and fiction can blend so seamlessly that we can no longer tell them apart. One patient, Emma, 42 years old, came to therapy with recurring nightmares about being attacked as a child. She vividly described being grabbed at the age of 6 by a stranger and taken into a forest. But her mother's journals showed that at that time, she had been visiting her grandmother in a quiet village where no strangers appeared. The memory still felt painfully real, causing tears and heart palpitations. Her therapist explained that the brain might have fused fragments together. The frightening sound of a siren, scenes from a horror film, and friends' stories about similar events. Through a process of deconstructing the memory and gentle desensitization, Marina gradually lost the intense emotional charge and was able to release a story that had fueled her insomnia. Researchers at the University of Amsterdam studied how false memories form in people with high anxiety. Participants viewed a set of photographs and were asked to memorize every detail. A week later, new images, similar in style but never shown before, were slipped into the set. Anxious participants recalled the false photos more often, describing them in convincing detail. The researchers linked this to hyperactivity in the amygdala, noting that high emotionality primes the brain to fill in uncertain pictures for self-protection. Neuroscientists at Kazan Federal University observed PTSD patients whose vivid war memories blended with everyday scenes that never happened. They confidently recalled events that did not exist, yet the emotional tone was identical: fear, despair, betrayal. This suggests that the brain creates danger patterns that can trigger similar memories even in safe environments. Every example here shows that memories are not simply a queue of frames stored in the brain, but a complex, interactive process shaped by language, emotion, context, and biochemistry. But there is a hopeful side. Understanding false memory mechanisms gives us tools to manage them. Our brain treats not only the past, but also our present sense of self as a partner in memory. When we suddenly recall events that never happened, it means a new neural path has formed before we even notice the merging of facts. In therapy, there is a well-known syndrome of shared false memories. In group sessions, one person's invention can be confirmed by another, and within minutes, everyone can share a collective illusion. A real-world case. 3 friends, graduates of the same university, argued 20 years later over a childhood prank. Each swore they had never taken part, yet each also remembered themselves as the main actor. The argument threatened to break their friendship. At a family meeting, one brought out an old school album that proved the prank had been planned by 4 entirely different people. The conflict was resolved by hard evidence, but the emotional distrust of memory lingered. At Oxford University, scientists tested what they called social misinformation. Students memorized a sequence of numbers, then saw a video in which the order was wrong. When asked to help reconstruct the correct sequence, those exposed to the wrong version began reproducing it as their own within an hour. This shows how, in the absence of confidence, the brain willingly borrows others' stories as its own. The philosopher Maurice Merleau-Ponty stressed that we live in a world where body and mind constantly interact, and memory is part of this body-soul unity. Our perception of the past cannot be separated from how we feel and experience the present. If someone suggests our route through the city was different than we recall, the brain can accept it as new information worth replacing the old. One striking case involved Victoria, who had survived a car crash but could recall no details. In therapy, she was shown model cars and videos of similar crashes, then asked to reconstruct her own experience. She described the sounds, pain in her arm, people pulling her from the vehicle. None of this came from her memory. It was imagination, reinforced by external cues. Yet it amplified her trauma, becoming a burden as real as an actual memory. At Boston University, neuroscientists studied mirror memory episodes in people who had lost close family members. They placed participants in rooms filled with family photos from strangers' archives, but with similar themes. Soon the participants described shared scenes as if they were their own. When empathy and emotional closeness are high, the brain cannot distinguish borrowed memories from real ones. The same neural networks activate for both. Knowing these built-in mechanisms of false memories helps prevent serious mistakes, from wrongful convictions to inaccurate diagnoses. In criminal cases, it is vital to avoid leading questions when interviewing witnesses. In therapy, new interpretations must be introduced carefully to avoid harming the patient. Yet memory is not our enemy, but a tool. If its plasticity can create falsehood, it can also heal. Modern therapy uses reconsolidation. Once a memory is activated, it can be rewritten with new sensations. At the University of New Mexico, patients with phobias recalled a frightening situation, then immediately practiced relaxation techniques, imagined positive images, and shifted the context. Within a week of intensive sessions, many no longer panicked when facing their feared object. Therapists often use a soft return technique, like journaling from different points of view. Write about an event as your 12-year-old self, your current self, and your imagined self 10 years in the future. This multi-angle view helps the brain see events more broadly and cool their emotional charge. Olympic athletes use a similar visualization method, recalling their best technique, then imagining the perfect form of the movement. These idealized memories strengthen motor skills as effectively as physical practice, because the brain's motor cortex does not distinguish between mental and physical repetition. A yoga and mindfulness teacher named Dharma, who has practiced for 20 years, says that when we sit in silence and let thoughts pass, the images of the past begin to dissolve. We realize we are not obliged to be their prisoners. Studies on Tibetan monks in long retreats show reduced activity in the default mode network, the brain's chatter circuit, and stronger links to self-reflection areas. You can try a simple empty memory album exercise. Take a blank sheet of paper and slowly draw any childhood scene you wish to remember. Do not worry whether it really happened. Let your hand move freely. Feel how the images arise on the page. Then write a few lines about the feelings this picture, even if invented, stirs in you. After a few weeks, return to the drawing and read your note. You may be surprised at how your attitude toward that scene, and toward memory itself, has changed. Jean-Paul Sartre wrote that hell is the past we cannot return to, but the future is our chance to rewrite the past. Creating new memories activates neurons that bring happiness and loosens old knots of pain. In this sense, we are craftsmen of our own memory, and every story we tell ourselves becomes part of the architecture of our soul. The memory that never was reveals the flaws in our perception, yet also its astonishing power. The ability to imagine, to empathize, to learn, and to reshape our inner world. Once we understand that every memory is an act of creation, we gain true freedom. The freedom not to be a prisoner of the past, but its artist. So if this exploration of memory has made you see your own past in a new way, take a moment to subscribe to Grounded in Science, share this video with someone curious, and tell us in the comments about a memory you're no longer sure is real. After all, the conversation we start here might just become a memory you carry forward, real or not, but entirely your own.